A lot of you will probably notice in the background of the videos these brick buildings in the background. So with it being Sunday, it's Diversification Sunday, so I'll go and show you around them, because this is office space. So there used to be cattle sheds. I don't know if you can see underneath that, you can't really see the light there, that black line. There used to be a roof coming down there to just in front of the workshop door, and that used to just be like a lean-to, and that had beef cattle in it, quite big ones. And well, they'd start off life the other side in the courtyard. So we'll go around and have a proper look at it. This is the car park for the offices. We've got like a pond over here, which was always here, or we call it a lake now. It used to be a pit. When you're farming, it's a pit. When you sell office space, it's a lake. So we dug it out a little bit bigger, put an island in it. It's getting a little bit overgrown again now. Could probably do with getting the digger in and pulling some of these trees out, or maybe get a chain on the Merlot. So we've got, see, actually here it's okay. So the island in the middle, we put a willow tree on it, but it seems to be getting a bit big now. We'll have to go across maybe on the Merlot boom and trim the bottom branches, otherwise we won't get any light in. The water's going quite dark. Motorhomes parked in the car park at the moment. That's another bit of diversification we'll talk about another day. But this used to be like the corner of a pasture field, and we just used to park trailers and things on it. Anyway, when we got planning for the offices, they allowed us to build a car park on here, which was pretty handy. I think it holds about 25 cars. You'd be surprised how much room cars actually take up. You thought it'd be massive, but sometimes if there's people in the offices have got training courses on, then the car park gets pretty full. So these overspill into the other car park, which is where we park our lads park their cars. So yeah, going through this archway here. This archway never used to be here. The only way you used to access this courtyard was through a gate over there behind that light. You'd come in, it was really tight. We used to have to back the cattle trailer in off the road. So these lower buildings had carves in. That window used to be a door. The dog used to be able to jump over it and nick the cat's food, because there used to be cats inside. The lofts weren't used for anything other than a water tank. So we'd get young calves off my uncle. We'd start off in there, he had a dairy farm, and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger until they worked their way around to these bigger sheds where you could get tractors in just about to muck them out. This was open, so it had bales of straw, hay and feed in here, and then we'd have to sort of dogleg the tractor in to muck them out. So when we got a telehandler, it was revolutionary. So we'll go inside and have a proper look. Actually, before we go inside, I'll just quickly scan around the courtyard to show you. Or slowly scan around the courtyard. These are the original cobbles, which is great. They look nice, but we're forever cleaning weeds and moss off them. You can tell it was windy last night. The watering can's blown around. Put that back before something trips on it. That's getting ready for its spring planting soon when the frost's gone. So we'll go in. We're inside now. Never obviously used to be a staircase, and that beam there used to be where we'd drive through into a cow pen there. And that used to be a set of doors that went quite high. You can see the remain of the archway just there through the banisters. That was an arched door. And through that way then, we had a big grain bin right up to the rafters. We'll go upstairs and you'll see better. And then that side we had a mill. So we used to mill the barley, fill a bin with barley in summer and mill it in the winter for the cows. So it used to go all the way up to the archway there now. And it used to touch the rafters up in there. This is a lady who does photography, so it's got all like sort of sets in for taking pictures of, specialised in baby photography. That wall never used to be there. There just used to be a gate across, and that was a cow pen as well. So it was really awkward getting a David Brown 990 sort of through that gap into here to muck out under this beam. Go back down, see. You'd have to back up into his corner, go into there, get a couple of forkful, back out, tip it into a trailer. We could back a trailer just about where that fountain was. The fountain never used to be there. Load it and pull it out the gateway. They weren't ideal. They were never made for cows. I wasn't particularly into cows. There wasn't a lot of money in cows, so we decided that if we converted it into office space, it'd pay at the time better than residential. It meant that we were controlling the asset on the yard. We didn't have to sell it off. We didn't have to rent it out to people that might moan about the noise. And also offices are generally tend to be 9 to 5 weekdays. We do have people that are in, not on a weekday. So for instance, we've got an accountant. He's not in yet. It's quite early on Sunday morning, but I expect he will be here because it's obviously the tax year end is coming up tomorrow. So I bet he'll be in later. So we put these stairs in. All the electrics are all underneath the stairs. And the BT was a nightmare. We said we were building the offices. We built them in 5 months, or converted them in 5 months. We told BT when we started, it took them 10 months to put the electric in. So this is what the courtyard used to look like. You can see properly. So this is the main glass doors here. This is an office, and this is now windows. This is where the grain bin used to be. So the grain bin would be where my finger is now behind the camera. And then there's a mill there, you can see it. The lights have just gone off. There's a mill there. Let me turn the camera actually. Yeah, so that's a mill. We used to have an auger going up through that doorway. You just drop down through that mill, and that was like a bunker where the grain had come into. These doors are obviously getting taken down at the moment. You see the scaffolding up because the roof's off. And we're redoing the roof, but we used to back trailers through these doors, tip into a pit where my finger is, and auger it up into a grain bin just off the picture up here, and then auger it back the other way. Sorry, there's lights keep going off, they're all automatic. That's the courtyard again better. And then this is upstairs in the loft, looking out of one of the windows down, so you can see like metal roof here. That would have been that corner of that building. So this is the corridor, main corridor. So inside here, got a kitchen. Doesn't look too bad, to be honest. It's been in for what, I don't know, 15 years nearly. Probably getting ready for some new door tops perhaps, but it's worn pretty well. And then we've obviously got disabled toilet, men's toilet. Lights are all automatic everywhere, but sometimes they're a bit slow. And then, no one in, female toilet. Then we've got another staircase up to another 2 offices. We've got an office up on the left, an office up on the right. And then we've got a plant room, which doesn't really get used a lot. We put a shower in because there was room, so if people cycle to work, we've got somewhere to shower. And then we've got all the gubbins for the heating and the underfloor heating, which has been a bit of a pain, to be honest. Underfloor heating, it's either too hot or too cold. It's not fast enough to react with buildings with a lot of glass in or insulation. That runs off the biomass now as well. Used to have an oil boiler the other side of that wall in our brew room, whereas now it's been converted to run off the biomass boiler's hot water with a heat exchanger. We've got 8 individual offices. I think the rent's around £11.50 a square foot plus a £2 service charge, and they pay their own electric, so I think it's £13.50. And it's been ever since we opened. We've never put them up. We perhaps should at the moment because things have been going up really quickly. Paul watches the videos as that office, so we'd be like, but no, it works well. So we've got all sorts of businesses. We've got a guy that does pest control, so he actually does ours. Over there we've got a building company that was actually the building company that built these or helped us convert them. We've got this company that does assisted living for disabled people, and they've got that office and now a small one for the manager. And then they have another office up there that they use as a meeting room and for training the staff. We used to have an electrical contractor, had 3 offices. We've had a wedding planner in a top office, the one that used to be for the photographer now has. We've had a guy making teeth. So, well, 2 people making teeth. One guy made them for like people in Dubai for like 30 grand a tooth. The other guy made them for the NHS, which is like £300 a tooth. The pair of them use the same equipment, but one of them would spend like 3 weeks making a tooth, and one of them would have to make 3 a day. So loads of different businesses over the years. We had a bit of time when we had some offices empty because we had an electrical company go bust that had a lot of space, and it took a while to then fill 3 offices back up again. So you are better with loads of smaller offices, loads of smaller businesses if you're ever thinking of doing it, because then if something goes wrong, you don't end up with a big empty building and having to pay the rates. That's the only problem with offices. If they're empty, you pay the rates. At the moment, though, they're all full. We have people ringing every so often wanting another one. So we've been writing them on a list in case anyone moves out. And then also, if I do the other farm, if we get the planning, then hopefully people will be able to go to that one that can't fit in here. Works really well. The motorway is about a mile away. If the car park was in the city centre, we'd actually earn more money than the office space. So if you're paying £8 a day to park a car in a car park, that is more valuable than here. But that just means that if you've got an office here and you're paying rent here, you don't have to pay expensive car parking, plus you don't have to carry on into the city centre through all the rush hour traffic. So we got a grant off, what, at the time, it was them guys. So Jonathan was sort of like the project lead on that for grants in the area. He helped us get it. That's how I got to know Jonathan. He had a farm as well, so we became good friends over the years, and he's helped me with loads of other projects that I've been on with. Would I do it again? Definitely. It's welcome cash flow into the business. It's improved the asset because they were falling down and we couldn't really afford to replace them or put new roofs on them. They were too good to flatten. When we were building them, loads of people said, why don't you move into them as a house? Well, we couldn't afford to. Plus, that, you know, 40 or 50 grand a year rent could go and rent you a really nice house. So offices kept us in control, kept the asset, paid to improve it. Only problem is it's not technically agricultural now, so there's inheritance tax sort of complications. So originally the buildings are in my dad's name, so we have to keep moving a little bit each year that's allowed so that we don't get stung for inheritance tax if anything was to happen. So that's sort of some of the things that you need to think about if you're going to do it. But works really well. People like working here because it's quiet, it's out the way. I'd say it's quiet, sometimes we're making noise, but it's not hustle and bustling. It'd be better if there was a shop local though, that's the only thing, there's not really a local shop. We did have a little van that used to come around with food, but there's just not enough people working in here, because some of them will have it as a base and be in and out. There's probably only, in the daytime, sort of 6 or 8 people that are on site all the time, but then other days there might be 20 odd people working in here. So it's just, it doesn't really work for the sort of mobile delivery shop things. But they've just built a Starbucks at the motorway roundabout and a KFC, so it's not that far for anything like that as well. So hope you've enjoyed Diversification Sunday, and we'll go and look at the farm. One thing I will just say, actually, just as an aside, this was the first thing that we ever did that we borrowed money to do outside of farming. So rather than just having a tractor on finance, we borrowed money to do something that was commercial, wasn't agricultural, and it worked, and it paid far better than agriculture for the investment. So it's given us the confidence to not be scared of doing other projects outside of farming and borrowing against assets to do that, which is massively transformed the business, massively insulated us from rising prices of different things and weather patterns, and means that we have a more steady cash flow, so that if a farm does come up for sale like the other one, we've got that sort of baseline incomings each month to be able to service debt and buy more property and more land and things like that. So a lot of people don't like borrowing money, but I think to get on in this day and age you should do, because it's cheap at the moment, and then also inflation will take care of the debt for you. I was young enough to borrow, but in a few years time banks will start saying no, you can't have 20-year mortgages because you'll be too old. So borrow as much as you can, as quick as you can, someone once told me, and I think it was actually good advice. And also debt is a good motivator. Just walking to the tractor shed and I can hear that fan over there. It's quite noisy, so just had a look, and the radiator's a little bit blocked, so I'll clean that in a minute. Anyway, anyone that's just got bored so far of me waffling about the offices, I thought we'd better show you some tractors, so if there's any kids watching, at least they get to see some tractors. It's pretty much unanimous yesterday that Andrew should keep this. I think he just got a little bit frustrated because it didn't pick up quite what he thought, and I think his VAT was late coming back, so he's thinking, oh, I might just sell it. But I think if he does, it won't be, it's a bit silly. But the main thing is, I think he should do it completely up before he sells it, and then, you know, he's got the fun of doing it up, and obviously the probably adding value to it as well, and then pictures of it looking amazing if he ever does decide to sell it. Someone said, why don't I buy it off him? Well, I did think I probably would one day. The problem is I've still not bought a quad track, and YouTube hasn't been the best for the last 2 months. It's been really down because the advertisers aren't prepared to pay. Oh, actually, I should just say as well, if you are watching and you subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, so you can hit the subscribe button, and you can also press the bell. That doesn't cost you anything. Then when I put a video up, it'll notify you. Oh, and also as well, the guy that come with the drone last week, he's got a video out, so I'll put a link below of him filming us spreading lime in basically extreme conditions after potatoes. I'll put a little clip in as well if I can at the end of what he got. So yeah, in the tractor shed, everything is tucked up. Not a lot of farming going on today. It's my niece's 10th birthday, so Olivia and her and a few others are going to a trampolining place, which, to be fair, looks a good bit of diversification if you've got a big barn and you put some trampolines in it. So I'm going to go and have a look at that. You've had an early video today because that means you can watch it all Sunday and relax, and it means I can relax this evening because I've not got to edit you guys the video. So the hats did sell out last night really quickly again, but the website hopefully will be up and running on Monday or Tuesday, and we should have more stock coming soon. So thank you everyone that's ordered one of them, and they'll be out in the post tomorrow. I love the smell of this shed. It's just like smells of tractors, diesel, tyres, oil. exhaust fumes. Got a brush. I'm just going to brush the fan. It's quite noisy in there, but if I brush it with it running, it sucks the dust through and then out the other side. Whereas if you turn the fan off, you just end up covered in dust and it doesn't come off as easy. So this is today's birthday bumper. So first of all, Heidi Butcher, which is my niece, and sorry your present is late, Heidi, but I forgot to order it. Mark Fowler, Pippa Lingham, Hayden Bettles, Jamie McKee, George Lett, and Jacqueline, I think it's Smith, no one told me your surname, but happy birthday to all you guys. Now, I don't know whether anyone saw the beautifully restored 1690 on Facebook last night. Well, this is my one, and this is this one. So, long way to go for this one, but hopefully we can get it sorted to look just as good as that one. That is all for today. Enjoy what's left of your Sunday, and I'll see you all tomorrow. And here's an outro of the drone.